Hi, my name is Andy Ebbs. I'm a solution consultant at OpenText, and I specialize in high availability and migration. Today, we're going to use Carbonite Migrate to create a migration job between VMware ESX and IONOS Cloud. I'm going to do that for Windows 2019 machine, and it's going to look a bit like this topology-wise. We'll have a source machine, which will be running in ESX, Windows 2019, could be running any application, and we're going to take a live copy of that server while everybody's online and place it into a cloud machine running in IONOS, and it will be basically a KVM virtual machine after the conversion process. So I'm going to start by having a look at the machines. So I have a ESX environment, which is a small environment. On here, I have a Windows machine already configured, and then in IONOS, I've created a small environment. Obviously, a real environment can be a bit more complex with some of the other environmental things like lots of servers and things like that as well. But to keep things simple, just got one server here. We can connect to that machine. You can look at the console. Again, it's running Windows. It's going to be easier for me to show you what I want to show you in a remote desktop session. So I'm just using Remote Desktop Manager here to view a few different screens. So we have the source machine. We can see it's a ESX source machine, W19 for Windows 19. And I have a target machine running IONOS as well. But I've also got some other machines because we can basically take this to any target environment where we could run Windows 2019. So this is my target. I'm going to use the Carbonite replication console to create the job. So this is basically a Windows client that can run anywhere on your network that can see the machines. You see I've got various different environments I might use for demos and so on, but we're going to choose the ESX source machine. We're going to right click on it, choose Migrate, confirm the workflow, which is full server migration, so we're going to take the whole server, choose the target environment, so we're going to use IONOS here. Okay, now it gives us a few options. So name of the job, some of the failover options. I'm going to change it so that it keeps the target machine's network settings. That way I can use the same IP address as the one that has been allocated to me by IONOS to connect for an RDP session afterwards. You might want to use that, and also you can also update the DNS records if the machine was on DNS. There's advanced settings for the way that we synchronize the settings between different network adapters, the way we synchronize the data, the route that we use for synchronization, where we put the files and so on. But I'm just going to basically just enable compression, and we'll leave that with the options because that's all I really need. I don't even need compression, but it makes things a bit quicker on my network. It now validates, basically checking the settings that are given it are good and usable. What you can see is it has found a warning here, basically telling me that the servers have a different amount of memory. I believe this is my VMware machine, it's IP address anyway. It's got 2 processors, whereas the machine I've created in IONOS has got 4. That's not a problem from our point of view, but it might be for your application. It might be expecting more resources or less resources. It might depend on the licensing for third-party applications such as Oracle and things like that. So it's just warning you. You could go back and change them. You could recheck. We can actually see, if we look in the IONOS thing, it's got 2 cores and each one's got 2 threads. So it's recognized as 4 processors there. So once you're happy with those settings, I'll click Finish, and that's it. It's now going to start synchronizing the data. That's going to take it a little while. As this ESX host that I'm using is based in my home, and I'm sending it over a standard BT home Wi-Fi connection with, I think it's got about 10 megabit up connection. It's probably going to take around 3 hours to send the full set of data. It's sending now, it's got about 16.8 gig to send. So I'd expect it to take about 3 hours, maybe slightly less with the compression. So I'm going to pause this and I'll continue later on once everything's in sync. But I suppose I want to just emphasize here, while we're doing all this, the users can continue still working on the production server. And we can even see if we look at the RDP session, this is my target machine, it's still online. But the source machine, the one everybody's still connected to, I could be creating new files. I could create a file like create one, call it IONOS demo. That will have been replicated as a target. We can actually see that if we look at IONOS target. It doesn't appear on the desktop because we put data somewhere sort of hidden away until we need it later on. But if we look on the C drive, there's a staging folder. We can go in there and go to Files, And this is basically a copy of the file system that's being replicated at the moment by our replication engine, or synchronized using a mirror process, as we actually call it. Go to users, administrator. Hasn't actually sent that change over yet, but if we give it a few seconds, that will come across. Maybe try and speed it along by changing it again. So I'll just add a number 2 on the end of it. There we go. So it's desktop there, and you can see that IONOS demo. So it did take a bit. There must have been something else in the buffer being sent across, as we are synchronizing the data live at the moment. We do tend to prioritize new change over existing data that we're synchronizing. So that's why it has gone across when I've just updated it. Again, if I went back to the source machine again, and maybe just change it to number 3 instead. As soon as I commit that change, it should capture that change in real time and send it over to the target machine. And you can see it has done it this time. The cool thing is the users, they continue working. It might take 3 hours to synchronize this data. And as you can see, the percentage bar will have gone up a little bit, but we're only at 1% here. So it's going to take a little while to synchronize that data over the wire. But once it's in sync, it'll keep it in sync until we're ready to do our cutover, which could be a few days or weeks later. And that's when we'll see some downtime, when we press the button to shut down the source and bring the target machine up. But hopefully we'll keep that to the minimum. So I'll continue this in a few minutes' time.
Okay, so it's taken a few hours. In fact, I left it overnight just to complete the migration of the data, or the synchronization of the data from the source machine to the target. That's now all in sync. We can see it's got a green tick next to it. It's idle and everything. And we can see the total amount of data sent was about 15.4 gig, but with compression, about 7.9, so pretty good. So what we're going to do now is do a failover. So we'll quickly look at the source machines and the target, just to show that they're both still online. So the source machine has been online all the way through, so it's the ESX source machine. The users could have been working on it, could be running SQL or something like that. I'll just change the file again, just put it to 4 at the end instead. And the target machine, which is running in the IONOS Cloud, is also still online. Or just didn't like my missions there, but it is there. IONOS demo 4. So it is in sync. It's replicating the real-time data. And what we're going to do now is going to shut down the source machine as part of the failover, so that machine will go offline. This machine will sit here for probably 5, 10, maybe even 15 minutes while it just does its conversion process. And then we'll be able to log into it using the IP address for the IONOS target, but it will have the desktop from the ESX source. So let's do that now. Right click on it, choose to failover, cutover the live data. You can see the message being sent to start the process, and it's failing over. If we look at those virtual machines, you can see the source machine was just being shut down there, and this target machine will get rebooted in a couple of minutes' time. We'll see this will it'll get grayed out just like the other ones, because it'll log out and just log back in to see the connection. But it is going to take it a few minutes, so I'm just going to pause the video again, and we'll continue once it gets nearer to 100%, or maybe once it's actually completed the failover. Okay, so having waited a few minutes, the machine has shut down. You can see the IONOS target machine is offline now. It's rebooted in the background, and what we can do is go back into the machine. I'm using the same IP address. That's what I've got for the RDP session here. It's connecting in, but we are actually talking to the Nutanix machine because the ESX source machine is no longer with us. It's turned off at the moment. If something had gone wrong, I could turn that one back on again, but now we have actually failed over into the IONOS target environment. You can see the files are where we expect to see them, and the host name will have been failed over as well. So even though we're now running on the IONOS Cloud, we're working with a machine with the host name W19 ESX source, which was what the original source machine running ESX was called. So that's it. hopefully it's been clear what I've been showing you. If you have got any questions, if you wanted to go into a bit more detail, if you want to customize the demo a bit, if you wanted to see a particular environment failover from or to, because the software is anything to anything, so I could equally be going from IONOS back to ESX. Just let me know. My email address is aabs@opentext.com. Thank you very much. And just as a slight thought afterwards, just to make sure I'm clear as to what was actually going on there, I might be just quickly show you the two environments again. So we have my ESX environment where my source machine was running. That's no longer online. I'd have to start it up. I could start it back up again, but I'll have two machines with the same configuration on my network. That's because clashes and so on. So for the time being, I'm just going to leave that turned off. And then the machine in IONOS Cloud, I've probably been logged out of here, so I'll just maybe try and log back in. And if we look at my data center here, you can see there's the IONOS machine again. So this is the machine that's actually failed over. So it was a plain Windows 2019 machine, and it was called W19 IONOS Target as its host name. But now that we're actually using the machine, I can actually just log in. So this is the VNC type connection to it. Just to show you, that's the same desktop I was looking at a few minutes ago, the RDP session, with the host name of this machine being W19 ESX host. So it could have been any application we failed over into this environment. Hopefully that makes it a bit clearer. Any questions, as I said, give me a call, aabs@opentext.com. Thank you.